Good morning, guys. Welcome to Thursday. If you don't know me, or if I'm new to you, I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents heal their codependency by rediscovering their value, voice, and vision so that they have a high degree of self trust, self confidence, and more happiness in their lives. Today, we're going to be talking about a concept basically how narcissism erases you and others. And this actually comes on a pretty personal note today. And I kind of did this deliberately just to be kind of add some punch to it. So 31 years ago today, my mother passed away from brain cancer. And since then, I have been able to have like 3, maybe 4 conversations with my father about that. In that 31 years, the discussions about my mother, who she was, what she cared about, what mattered to her, have been so rare I can count them on one hand. See, narcissism erases people. It erases us. It demands that we do not exist so it can absorb that space to get its supply. I call it narcissistic inflation. So like a balloon, narcissists need to be inflated, and when that balloon expands, it pushes everything out. Everything else gets pushed away or into non-existence. There isn't enough space to allow other people, other places, other things to exist because it needs that space. And this is what they do. This is what I experienced in my own journey out of narcissism, is confronting that I had been erased. My mother has been erased. It's pretty profound in 3 decades that you've had 4 discussions. I confronted him 2 years ago on this, and he just stared at me like I was talking to someone he didn't know existed. And it's interesting when narcissistic and abusive people take a dead person or a person in your life or in the past that doesn't have the ability to have their own say in things, what they do with those individuals, because they do 2 things. They do the same thing they do with you. They idealize the person or they villainize the person. Okay? And they do this in order to manipulate you. They want to control you so that you will be what they want you to be, to give them the supply, the inflation that they want. And this is also erasure of them and you. If you've struggled to know yourself, to know if you exist, if you feel like you're invisible in the world, this is why. Because you have been pushed to erase yourself from existence so that they can get what they want. I mean, how does a toxic, narcissistic, abusive person respond when you say no? They explode. They have a little tantrum. They call you selfish. They demand, they bring your past into the demand and accuse you of things. They think very, very negatively of you. They undermine you because they want your space. They want your energy. They want your supply, your life force. Because they're intrinsically vampiric. They want to just take and take and take, and they're just a black hole. You can never fill that hole because they're intrinsically empty of themselves. They have no desire to really know and own themselves. So, I see if I can get on track here because I feel a little off with it because it's a big deal. Because it comes down to my experience with how my mother was erased. I mean, I barely know who she was. I was 10 when she died. And there were no discussions. My dad checked in with me twice on how I was doing with her death, and that was in the first 6 months. So that was between today and October of 1989. He's never checked in with me since. Stepmother was very intimidated by a dead woman. very resentful of her, very scared of her, and so would deliberately aggrandize or idealize her, but then shut down conversation about her. She had to filter it through her lens, so she felt safe with it. We weren't allowed to actually freely talk about it. I didn't grieve my mother until I was 34. This is what erasure looks like. You know, another form of erasure with narcissists is they absorb your successes. They take what you've done well and make it their own. They're like, oh, my son, my daughter, look how wonderful they are. Look how well I've done. I'm so proud to have them. They turn it into them. They don't celebrate you. They celebrate how good they've done. And they erase you from your own successes. They demand that you acknowledge their goodness for your effort. It's erasure. They erase your emotions. You're not allowed to have feelings. You're not allowed to say things. You're not allowed to have a difference. And they use love to control that experience, to take that from you, to convince you not to be able to do these things. It's a big deal in how they control the way you show up by manipulating these things and trying to erase what you feel, to erase who you are. They shame your differences and your interests and your character. If it doesn't benefit them, that's erasure. Okay? This is a systemic component to narcissistic abuse, because if you exist, they can't take that space up, and that really pisses them off. They don't want that. They want your space. And this is why the first right that when I talk with clients and students, when we're working through the happiness strategy, when we're addressing this head on, the first right is to occupy space. And that includes everything. That includes your sadness, your anger, your indifference, your joy, your lust, your jealousy, your peace of mind, what your likes, your dislikes, your limits, your limitations, your aspirations, your dreams. You have a right to occupy all that space and to connect deeply with you. This creates a natural buffer, a natural boundary, a differentiation, a separation from you, from them, which is going to piss them off because they demand that you be what they need you to be, or they deflate, right? They lose supply, and that's what triggers them to feel angry and explosive and abusive, because now they're losing control and they fear that they won't exist. Poof, right? And that's an important signal that you're and technically moving into your own space, becoming you. Now, it's also a very dangerous place to be in, depending on the narcissist you're dealing with, because they can really, you can be really effective with that. So you have to be very wise with it, because if they have a history of domestic violence, we need to be really conscious about that and get you out of there in a very safe way so that you're safe. Okay? Yes. Hi, Lauren. Thank you. Yeah, this is a big deal with erasure. And it's important for us to start to acknowledge that this has been happening. There's a huge amount of grief that comes in with the fact that someone that we've loved, that we've cared about, has deliberately tried to remove us from existence, at least at a personality, needs, wants, feelings level. That this is a shaping event that contorts our own self-awareness and engenders within us this sense of lack, of emptiness, and confusion as to who we are. We can't know ourselves, love ourselves, or live who we are because we're not in contact with that. We're in contact with their version of us. So that's an automatic void for us because we're playing a role rather than expressing who we are and living from that brilliance that's within us. So reversing this really requires us to first come in contact with the space we occupy. And the easiest place to identify that is to touch your body. Guys, a lot of times narcissistic people, and especially narcissistic systems, try to take our body from us. They do that in a lot of different ways. They do that by shaming the body. They do that by claiming that the body was given to you as a gift. they violate the body with physical or sexual abuse. They try to control what you do and don't do with your body. They remove consent to how your body is used and what you allow to be done and to do with your body. They violate that very sacred space right there and try to control that experience. This divides you from you and starts to erase your innate, what I call personal authority over your body. And then secondly, they wedge between you and your emotions a villain. That villain is that your feelings are bad. They're selfish. They're shameful. Because they hurt, your feelings hurt their feelings, right? Which is technically bullshit. If someone's feelings hurt your feelings, there's a problem, right? Feelings don't harm anybody. The feelings are not harmful. They don't cause harm. Feelings are a state of being in relationship to a person, place, or thing, to some sort of context outside ourselves or within ourselves. Now, actions, yes, can be hurtful, but then we also have to understand what the action is and what the context is around that action to actually determine if it's truly a hurtful thing, harmful thing, or if it's actually a healthy expression. Because like me saying no to you, Sally, for instance, if I'm saying no to Sally because she wanted some of my cookies and say no, I'm saving those cookies for later, and she explodes on me, my no was not wrong. Her anger does not make my boundary wrong. In fact, her anger, her explosion there is unhealthy because she's acting in a way that expresses a sense of entitlement to something that is intrinsically not hers, right? And so I can reflect that back to her and say, I understand you're upset, but this is not an appropriate response to my boundary. This needs to change. Boom. And if you move into more of a what's called objective empathetic point of view, you could say, I see you're angry. There's some pain behind there. There's something really going on for you. And that's important because people who have a reaction like that to something that's very healthy, they're actually coming from pain. Even a narcissist would. But the thing with a narcissist is you do not fix them and you do not rescue them. They have to own their behavior and their feelings. They have to confront themselves, and good luck with that, because when you think you're perfect and you think you know everything and you think you're special, you're not gonna do that. Why would you? I mean, really? So guys, coming out of erasure means we make contact first with our first primary space, which is our body. Our second primary space is our emotions. Our third primary space is our perspective, our points of view, our understanding of things. And the fourth primary space is who we are, personality, culmination of our right to be who we are. This begins to undo that erasure. And it's really built on the premise of understanding and being what's called your innate value, your true voice, and your genuine vision. So when you have these three elements functioning, the rest of these four components come alive automatically, because these three elements, your value, voice, and vision, fill these up. They inform who you are. They inform you about your feelings and your body and your points of view, your opinions on things. So that's why I approach healing codependency and narcissistic abuse from a value, voice, and vision perspective. That's why I built it on that. It's because it's effective. It's so effective that it leads to persistence outside of codependency. You're happy after codependency. You have self-trust, self-confidence, and more happiness. Those are the common reports from my students in the happiness strategy, especially self-trust, which is essential if we're going to be happy. Now, talking about the happiness strategy, I have applications open. You can click the link above if you're on Facebook, below if you're on YouTube, to apply for the happiness strategy that starts April 20th, so just under 2 weeks here. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Guys, I will lead you over a 13-week training. I lead you through regaining your value, retrieving it from outside of yourself, acknowledging what it is and connecting to it, and then living through it through understanding and following your own voice and embracing and being the vision that shows up for you. In this, I also train you in my trauma healing process called GDLI, and educate you on how to have your boundaries, right? How to trust yourself, how to listen to yourself, how to follow yourself, and then through our experiments, you actually discover how simple and easy it is to accomplish that. So if you're looking to really break free of your codependency, if you're looking to trust yourself again, to have confidence again, to have yourself back, to know who you are even for the first time, apply for the happiness strategy or take my masterclass below. Guys, I appreciate you today. Acknowledge that you exist, because I see you and I cherish you and I value you. Because I see me, I cherish me, I value me. And you, I imagine, are seeing me because I'm right here. We are real. What we've gone through is real. And what we've gone through matters. It happened. And how we feel about it matters. Our emotions matter. They're valuable. Our experiences are valuable because we are valuable. Today you can end that erasure by reconnecting with that truth that you are worth knowing, loving, and keeping. Okay? So thank you for showing up today. I appreciate you. Be safe, be healthy out there, and I will see you guys in our next training. Bye-bye.